Hey everybody, it is Mattie here with Altcoin Buzz with you on this Tuesday. Today we are discussing on news.bitcoin.com the most important aspect of Bitcoin. Bit of an editorial, but it makes a good point as far as that article is concerned. On Ethereum, worldnews.com, we're talking Bakkt, which is good for Bitcoin and Ethereum too, and the market hasn't quite priced that in just yet. Then we're talking all about China. On AsiaCryptoToday.com, we're talking Trump versus China and the currency war that is escalating between the United States and China. Of course, on Cointelegraph.com, China, Shenzhen Special Economic Zone to include digital currency research. We're also talking China on altcoinbuzz.io. Their central bank is apparently close to launch of its own cryptocurrency, something we've covered before. Then we're going to end the day with a little bit of levity and some tweets that I think you all members of the Altcoin Buzz Army will enjoy. But let's begin here with a snapshot of the market. We're down just marginally, less than 1% down, but at $278 billion this morning. And Bitcoin, at the time of this recording, sitting at $10,686, down just 0.1% over the course of the last day. But the rest of the altcoins, as you can see here, at least in the top 10, bleeding a little bit more than that, a couple, 2, maybe 3 percentage points down. Okay, so we are here on news.bitcoin.com with this op-ed article by Jamie Redmond. The most important aspect of Bitcoin is the separation of money and state. I think that's a very powerful message. As we're going to dive into this article, there are some aspects of it with which I disagree. However, I think overall some excellent points are made. So, by way of introduction, many cryptocurrency supporters believe the technology, referring to blockchain, allows for the separation of money and state in a manner that's never been seen before. I would agree. Governments inflict two forms of robbery against non-violent citizens by forcing them to pay taxes while also stealing from them silently through inflation. Not so much an agreement there, at least not fully. Now, there's a wide array of digital currencies competing in different ways to help remove the parasitic behavior perpetrated by the oligarchy. Ooh, Jamie's got an axe to grind. So this is a bit of a lengthier piece, and we won't have time to go through all of it, but I'll do my best to highlight some of the main messages here. So the monetary system is designed purportedly by oligarchs and penalizes the people. You can look up any statistic going back over the last couple of decades, really, and you'll see, speaking specifically about the West, so I'll lump in Canada maybe with the United States, though certainly the rich have gotten richer, the middle class and the working class have kind of stagnated. We haven't seen really wages go up much, and the argument seems to go that the elites have orchestrated it in this way intentionally to benefit themselves. And as you can see here, according to this cartoon, the state has been pillaging and stealing from the general public for centuries. So just an aside, my personal opinion is that you do need a baseline of civic, maybe state, or provincial and national federal government. I, for one, like the fact that I can go in. I just had a motorcycle accident, actually, and I like the fact that I can go in, receive free health care for my injuries, and I can get back up to speed. I like the fact that I can drive down the street and get to my appointments in paved roads. So that kind of stuff, to me, is important. I wouldn't fully agree with the sentiment of this article. However, I see what he's trying to say. Cryptocurrency solutions are tools for increasing freedom. That is certainly true. No argument there. Here's an interesting quote from Eric Voorhees. It's back in 2015 when he was the Shapeshift CEO. Quote, "Money is absolutely as fundamental to our lives as religion. And for many people, it is far more fundamental to their lives than religion. It affects how your life unfolds. The choices that you can make about money dictate the ramifications of your life and those around you. And so to have an institution like money so controlled by a central entity, by a monopoly, is absurd. It is immoral. We should get rid of it." At least speaking for the United States, the Federal Reserve, of course, is not federal. It has no elected officials or leaders, and it is unbeholden to other laws that would normally extend to other bodies and institutions in the government. And as you can see here, we're going to be speaking about China in a second, but this cartoon brings to mind the standoff in Tiananmen Square, where a protester was demanding freedom in front of a line of tanks. As you can see here, the protester has a makeshift Bitcoin sign, whereas the tanks have the yen, the dollar sign, and the euro as their banners. Relating to that theme is this quote by Satoshi Nakamoto: "The root problem with conventional currency is all the trust that's required to make it work. The central bank must be trusted not to debase the currency, but the history of fiat currencies is full of breaches of that trust. Banks must be trusted to hold our money and transfer it electronically, but they lend it out in waves of credit bubbles with barely a fraction in reserve. We have to trust them with our privacy, trust them not to let identity thieves drain our accounts." And the author goes on to suggest that, like many ideas before it, there's still a chance that Bitcoin could fall short of a revolution. I think the revolution being called for here is a little extreme, a little hyperbolic, calls for how to destroy the state. I, for one, am not interested in destroying the state in which I live. I quite like my state, but nevertheless, that's perhaps an extreme view. You can check it out if you side with their opinion. Today, many cryptocurrencies offer a road that leads to greater freedom. At least I think we can agree on this point. So check out this article in full. Like I said, it's a little bit on the side of anarchy and extremism for my taste, but nonetheless, some good points are made, and some historical points as well that we didn't quite dive into regarding the nature of international involvement that the U.S. has exhibited, as well as the day-to-day consequences of the monetary policy that it continues to institute. But in other news, we're looking here on ethereumworldnews.com at Bakkt, which is good for Bitcoin and Ethereum, and the market really hasn't priced that in just yet. So on the 18th of August, the Bitcoin price reacted quite positively on the announcement from Bakkt. As it happens, the timing more than canceled out the unsurprising news that the US SEC was delaying a decision on the 3 ETF proposals before it. Well, what else is new? Bakkt and a clutch of new entrants from big finance are set up against Coinbase, which recently bought industry wallet and custody pioneer Zappo, originally founded by Argentine tech and crypto entrepreneur Wences Cesares. This acquisition has significantly improved Coinbase's already well-regarded institutional custody service, which was launched in July of last year. As the article points out, Bakkt, of course, is about much more than futures products and associated services. The Intercontinental Exchange, parent company of the New York Stock Exchange, wants to help kickstart crypto payments and has brought Starbucks and Microsoft on board to help. Skipping ahead, Bakkt is looking to cover all the bases, and it looks to have achieved that while still beating the competitors with Ledger X, prematurely announcing a product launch only for the regulator to slap it down. Bakkt is an exchange business, so naturally it has shown itself open to Bitcoin as a legitimate tradable instrument. But although the daily and monthly futures contracts will get all the attention for now, the crypto payments part of the ecosystem could not only prove more interesting, but in the longer run, the better risk-return proposition. And yes, teaming up with Microsoft is smart. The software giant has recently brought Ethereum to its suite of Azure cloud tools and services. Indeed, co-founder of Ethereum, Vitalik Buterin, made an appearance on stage at this year's Microsoft Developer Conference. I didn't know that. Very interesting. Ethereum, along with the rest of the altcoin pack, as we all know, has been underperforming against Bitcoin since April. The price gap between Bitcoin and Ethereum has been widening, as seen in the chart below, but perhaps a change is coming. And here on Asia Crypto Today, Trump versus China currency war may be a crucial moment for Bitcoin. No doubt you've heard about what's been going on geopolitically between the United States and China. You guys can read up on the attacks that Trump has issued against China in the context of a trade war. But here are the implications as far as they relate to cryptocurrency. Despite all of this, as we have seen in the past few years, international norms and neoliberal institutions' powers are eroding. Brexit and the Greek crisis illustrate a failing European Union, and Trump's anti-globalization America First message, which brought him into office, show a changing mindset. You have this individual, Casey, who is the chairman of CoinDesk's advisory board and a senior advisor for blockchain research at MIT's Digital Currency Initiative, and they have the following opinion. They're saying that Bitcoin can really be a savior in this kind of a situation, and that's the crucial difference between 80 years ago and now, basically the advent of Bitcoin. Much like gold back in the 1930s, Kerry believes that Bitcoin will give people protection, quote, against wayward governments. With its community of believers, consumers, Bitcoin, unlike other altcoins, will provide security. The similarities it has between gold are evident. Bitcoin's digital properties are similar to those of harder currencies like gold. Yes, it's hard to mine, it's provably scarce, and it's fungible and transferable. It is clear for carry. Quote, regardless of your own beliefs, a sufficiently large number of other people now believe Bitcoin to be the best way to hedge against political economic turmoil in the global financial system. We saw this yesterday as well in the context of our reporting on Hong Kong and the pandemonium and the unfortunate chaos that is unfolding there. This view of Bitcoin as a savior against governments is mirrored by Nicholas Taleb, who wrote a piece on Bitcoin stating it is, quote, an insurance policy against an Orwellian future, echoing, I would say, the sentiments of Max Kaiser, which I keep citing. Be it authoritarian regimes or flailing democratic ones, the people have a way to circumvent their economic control. And you may want to check out this piece as well if you have the time on Cointelegraph.com. China says that Shenzhen Special Economic Zone is going to include digital currency research. And on altcoinbuzz.io, China's central bank is purportedly close to the launch of its own cryptocurrency. Article here by Robert. The launch of the People's Bank of China's regulated cryptocurrency will give China more control over its financial system. People will be able to swap from yuan to the crypto via mobile wallets. And finally today, just to end things with a little bit of levity, we have at DanHeld on Twitter, who wrote the following on the 18th of August. You know that annoying person who keeps talking about Bitcoin? Well, they're right. And in response, you have this, at Peter Schiff cannot stop talking about Bitcoin, and I don't think he's right. If you're not exactly up to speed with Peter Schiff's opinion, he's definitely pro-gold. He's on the fence about Bitcoin, but I would say, at least in my estimation, he's been proven wrong now for several years. But nonetheless, he's a smart guy. He is informed. He's willing to have a discussion about it. Go check out his talks, maybe with Joe Rogan if you haven't watched them already, and let us know your thoughts about that in the comments below. But that about rounds it out for the news today, everybody. Do be sure you are following us on all the regular social media channels and keep checking back into altcoinbuzz.io for the latest. Go ahead, like, subscribe, share, hit the bell, of course, to receive notifications. I wish you only the very best of luck if you choose to invest on this Tuesday, but have a great one, everyone, and we hope to see you again soon in our very next video. Take care.